Hi, this is Brendan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and I'm here with Joel and Adam, and today we're talking about Rashomon, a 1950 Akira Kurosawa movie. This is one that Joel has really wanted to do for a long time. I'm going to read the breakdown from the IMDb. The rape of a bride and the murder of her samurai husband are recalled from the perspective of a bandit, the bride, the samurai's ghosts, and a woodcutter. Does that sound like an accurate description to you guys?
Yeah, I mean,
Reasonably.
yeah, it's accurate for the events, although that's not really what Rashomon is but we'll get into that. We will get into that.
So I would say it's one of the better breakdowns, though. I mean, we've seen some really bad breakdowns on IMDb.
Oh
So,
God. Yeah, I
um,
mean, at least that's accurate to the
yeah,
events of the movie as we know them, right? And it's direct and it's complete.
it just doesn't
Well,
emphasize a critical aspect of it, I suppose.
well,
Um,
the central aspect,
yeah.
really. But again, you should just watch the damn movie. Like it's infamous for what it's about, right? Like,
So,
watch the movie.
so as we were saying, that we watched Rashomon. I think I was the only one that this was my first time seeing it. I'm not
Really?
I'm not as versed in samurai movies in general. The Japanese movies I know tend to be stuff like Street Fighter and J horror movies. So,
Also good though.
yeah.
Horror is fantastic.
So
I
so
just I watched Sweet Home not too recently, and that's one I'm going to tempt you to watch as well. You guys remember me talking about that one?
But so this was an opportunity for me to kind of fill in some space that I feel like is a gap in my knowledge. And it's one that I've been and I shouldn't say I have like no knowledge. Like I know like the Lady Snowblood movies and things like that, and a lot of the movies that she was in. But I just have a very passing knowledge of the genre, and I definitely don't know Akira Kurosawa as well as I should. I've seen the clips. That's the way I'll put it. I've seen the clips. I've seen the reasons why people say he's someone that you need to see, but I haven't really, done a deep dive into Akira Kurosawa. Um, and I have to say before you, I mean, you guys have seen it before, so I'll give you the floor in a
Yeah.
moment. But I was really impressed with this, and I mean, I'm not surprised because I heard so many good things. But a lot of times, people are like, "Oh, this is a great movie. You got to see this movie," and you go and you watch it, and it's like, "Oh man, this is dull as hell," or
This is garbage.
yeah,
Yeah.
or oh, geez, like it's one of these kind of movies. Like there are just so many different things, and this one, what really surprised me was how interested and invested I was just from like the scene where the guy's walking through the woods, the woodcutter. We're just walking through the woods. You don't even know what's happened yet.
Yep.
And I was like, why am I fascinated by this guy walking through the woods? So it looks beautiful. It's acted beautifully. I was very impressed with the acting. I was impressed with the casting, just in terms of both how people looked, but how they were costumed and how the makeup was done and the angles that they were shot from. And this movie had like everything. Like whenever I, rate one of the movies that we see, and I'm acclaiming something, and there's like some brilliant scene in it, or some great shot. This movie was just back to front, all of that. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I had no complaints about it at all. I'm glad that you got us to watch it. But I'll give you guys the floor now.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad that you liked it, dude, because like you just described, like you went almost like as a bulleted list of all the stuff that Akira Kurosawa isn't only famous for, but pioneered for filmmaking. Period. Like a lot of the stuff that you see in film nowadays, we take for granted.
Yeah,
Like cutting between certain shots in certain ways, he created that. Like it's so he's a super genius when it comes to this stuff, and and if you're a big fan of spaghetti westerns, which I know that you are, you'll definitely notice they rob him blind
yeah,
as far
that's
as film
that's
technique
that's
goes.
very obvious. And in wuxia too.
Yeah.
You see it in wuxia movies too, for sure. Um,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his influence speaks for itself. I could watch this back to back, like the good and the bad and the ugly, and you can see like this direct line of influence. It's brilliant
like
stuff.
I would say, like King Hu seems to draw a lot on someone like
Oh,
Kurosawa.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. So I don't know, Adam. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this probably since the '90s, so it was fairly fresh. It was good to get to actually see it again after all this time, and yeah, it's still a fantastic movie. I mean, it is absolutely perfect, like you say, from the beginning of the with the woodcutter walking through the woods. It's just like it just pulls you. I remember thinking this is such a long scene of him walking through the woods, and it works. It's like in a lot of movies you'd be like, come on, man, what are you trying to use up film? But no, that's great.
I think it was all the angles in that scene. Like he was doing really interesting things. Like even though like Joe was saying, like a lot of movies have imitated this guy, I don't feel like I've seen quite as extensive a use of like every shot. It's like, oh, here's a new shot. Oh, here's a new interesting shot. And they just keep coming at you. And so you don't get bored because like at one point he's filming them from below like a wood bridge with the guy.
Yeah, you can see the leaves and the light coming through them as it slowly dollies through in this mesmeric way.
That shot, that shot, the dolly under the trees, I have seen a lot. And so I'm glad that I saw it because like I just did a movie not too long ago, Finger of Doom, and in that one that has that shot, and so you know, and I knew that shot probably came from somewhere, but I didn't know it came from this movie.
No, I think the dolly under the trees too. I think that's in Miller's Crossing, which interestingly, to connect everything, is based on the same Hammett book that Yojimbo is based on.
Oh, that's cool.
But another thing, I mean, I like the way the movie sets up its themes early too, for the sense that when the bandit first starts telling his story, you have the whole thing about did he fall off the horse? It immediately gets you thinking. It's like, oh, I shouldn't, because people are inclined to, you're seeing something on the screen, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And he's immediately putting that idea in everyone's head and planting it that you can't trust what you're seeing. And that's a real, without being obvious about it. It was a really clever technique.
Another thing I did like about this movie is it's like an arty movie, but it's not a difficult movie to sort of think about it. Like the ideas are very clear. It's not hiding what it's saying from you. It does force you to think, but it's a movie that I think anybody can approach, and you're not going to be like, oh man, I don't know enough about this obscure theory of ideas to grapple with this. Everybody can.
I think it's true of Kurosawa
movie.
In general. He's just he is a very approachable filmmaker. He's very, very humanistic and very, you're just there's a lot of depth to it, but there's no pretension to it or anything. It's just very clear.
And it was entertaining because it's ultimately a murder mystery, and so you're like. You're invested in that. And so it's not, it never feels like, oh, I'm just sitting here watching a guy drink tea on the lawn for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those kind of movies. And so, I feel like the only thing that was kind of making me even hesitant to watch a movie like this in the first place was that. And so it was really a relief to see that, this is like a real engaging movie. But yeah, so I don't know. We don't really quite have, go ahead, Joel. Did you?
Oh, no, I love so much about this film. I like the way it's framed. I like that we're all just under this gate, which is, I guess, what the movie is named after. And it's raining, and you just got a little trio there. You got, like, a monk, a woodcutter, and I guess the other guy's just a criminal, or just some kind of, like...
Yeah, I don't know what that guy's thing was. Let's see, what does it say?
He winds up being
he's a commoner.
He's a piece of trash is what he is. But he also has an immediately compelling and difficult to argue philosophy, which makes him a super fascinating character, right? He's pragmatic to a fault. And you can't really say he's wrong considering the circumstances, but you can say he's trash.
But he's also kind of the stand-in for us, too, because he's the one getting 100%. The story for the from the guys.
Yeah, the audience, he's a stand-in for all humankind. And you know what? He's a pretty accurate representation. I gotta tragically, I see a lot of myself in that jerk. But like, I love the framing device of that, because you're right, he's our stand-in, and we're hearing the story secondhand through him. But he's also being told stories of the people who are telling their stories. There's so many layers to it. It's great, and yet you're never confused. Not for one moment in this film are you ever like, wait, who did what? No, you know exactly who's being talked about, what they're about, right? And you're getting their version of things. Even with all that filtering, we have this wonderful clarity, and it's beautiful because that clarity is used to obscure the reality of what actually happened, which we never find out.
We don't know. And
that tickles me, man. I love that.
I guess the thing that I'll skip ahead because I don't want to forget this part, but at the end, like we get like even dead men in this movie are lying, right? Like the samurai is dead, and a spirit medium relates his account, and by the end it's like even that account is accused and not accused of being a fake account. Like they don't say no, that spirit medium was a fraud. They say that the dead guy was lying, which is like just an interesting, aspect of it. But so all of the value of human nature gets called into question. You have this Buddhist monk who's losing faith in humanity, and he ends up giving the woodcutter there's this baby that I guess is just I guess someone just leaves a baby towards the end of the movie.
Leaves the baby,
and
that's a good example of just how rough of a time this was in Japan. It was miserable, right? And it's not like this isn't like some poor farmer's baby. It's left in like this silk kimono with this little dowry of money with it, like. Yeah, this is like some noble is like, I've got to abandon my baby in this place and hope someone takes it. Like that's the state of Japan right now. Not nice.
Yeah, well, not to mention too, the gate is half collapsed too. So the set that we're in for the frame story.
But at the end, the monk ends up giving the baby to the woodcutter because the woodcutter says, I have 6 kids. What's one more?
Yeah, what's one more?
And then he says, oh, my faith in humanity has been restored. And it feels like a happy ending, but at the same time, you're like, wait a second, that woodcutter's kind of been a shady guy this whole time. Like,
I think, that's a good question. There's the woodcutter versus the guy taking the stuff from the baby, and I feel like there is an ethical difference to a degree. It was not right for the woodcutter to steal this dagger that was lying there in the forest. That was wrong. But stealing the dowry, as I think Joel put it, of this baby that was left to take care of it is like on a different level than picking up a dagger that someone was never going to come back to pick up.
But I guess what I'm saying is we don't know. Maybe that's what the woodcutter, what his intentions were, is to steal the dowry.
Maybe the woodcutter killed the guy.
Well, because
you could say and took the dagger, but
you don't know.
Maybe he did all of it. But
I never even thought about that. But you're right. It's not like he's not a suspect. When you really think about it,
no, he is
stuck up on a tied up, like emotionally destroyed, maybe unconscious samurai, and stabbed him and taken his stuff. That totally could have happened. I never even thought about that. I love that.
Yeah.
Only balances the karma by taking the baby, which could be that samurai's baby, because
honestly though I do. Well, I'm the one that came up with that theory. I honestly just kind of doubt it, just because everything we see of that guy in this story, I just feel like he's not a ruthless murderer, like most likely. But,
and the movie doesn't frame him like that either, because he takes on the responsibility of the additional child.
Yeah. Unless he was going to eat it. Maybe he was going to eat the child. I mean,
that's what I would have done. It looks pretty delicious.
I mean, he could have just planned on abandoning the child after taking his dowry. I guess. Well,
the dowry's gone. The guy.
The other guy took the. Okay, then never mind. For some reason, I thought that the other guy didn't get the dowry. Okay.
No.
All right.
No, the other guy totally gets the dowry and leaves.
Okay.
And they're just like, well, that sucks. And then the monk's got the baby, and he's like, I'm not giving you this baby. You're a lying scumbag. And he's like, well, I'm gonna raise it though. Do you know how to raise a baby? You're a wandering monk.
Yeah, because what I kept thinking of was the "I've got 5 kids to feed" line from Total Recall.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing. Well, it's funny because earlier in the movie, I was thinking it's like, oh, we should have done this after Total Recall since they're both about memory. This would have been the fun. But then when that line came up, I had the same thing. I'm like, that was what led me to he's going to eat that baby. He doesn't really have kids.
But I just love too that like Joel was saying, you never really even know what actually happened. Each of the versions are just slightly tweaked, change. It's not like a totally different account. It's just somebody comes out looking a little bit better, a little bit worse, so but yeah, so I don't know, did you guys have any thoughts on what you think actually did happen?
Well, oh man. Well, okay. I think that probably elements of the stories that make everybody look the least flattering are probably the most true. I love later on in the movie when you finally get because you get different versions of the story. You get a kind of a samurai romance version from the bandit, right? Who presumably killed this guy, where they have this epic battle and it's all like dramatic and all this stuff is happening. And then from the woman, you get this like deeply shameful, miserable thing where something terrible happened to her and she misbehaved and like she's just hates herself and everything's just like dark and grim. And then from the samurai, you get this like heartbreaking tragedy of being betrayed. But then finally, after all of that, you get the woodchopper's version, and his version makes everybody looks like an absolute clown. Like
Yeah.
when they do the sword fight, and it's great because it's beautifully contrasted with the first sword fight in the movie. You only see the sword fight, I want to say, twice. The first time, it's this cool, heroic sword fight. And the last time, they're like rolling around the ground and whimpering and crying and trying to scrabble and throw dirt in each other's eyes. And it's just
because they're both afraid. They're both just terrified of dying. Yeah.
Right. They don't want to die.
They're sort of shaking in their hands. It's it's so well done.
It's weirdly, it's the same fight. The outcome's the same, but the way it's looked at, and you're left to ponder in both cases, like what elements are true of either of these. I mean, clearly the heroic, like, you know, sword fighting thing is probably exaggerated to make the criminal look good, right? So some of that's a lie, but I mean, this is still a samurai and a seasoned criminal. Like, they probably weren't walling around the ground and sobbing. So that might be an exaggeration from the woodcutter's perspective, because he sees people fighting and his thought is, what would I do in that situation? And it'd be miserable and cowardly, right? So yeah, how much of that is him just being like, yeah, it looked really miserable and awful. They were crying. It was pathetic. You don't know. So, gosh, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. There's got to be some version where I don't even know who killed the guy, right? Because there's so many different ways that you can look at it. Where it's like, okay, did he kill himself in shame? Did his wife secretly kill him? Did he die in the sword fight? Did someone else kill him that we just never got to see? There's some evidence for that too. So it's like, man, I don't know. I know the fact of it is he's dead and a bunch of his stuff was taken, but not that dagger, because that dagger definitely wound up in the hands of the woodcutter, who kept his trap shut about it. So we know that for a fact, I guess.
I kind of tend to think that the wife killed her husband from the standpoint that it is a recurring thing of her wanting one of them dead. Sure. And that she wants to basically, she can't stand the idea of someone who watched that or participated being alive. So there's things through the different accounts that all feed into the idea of her being the one that actually wanted him dead. And but I mean, once again, you could also interpret it in the final story where she maneuvers them into a fight is also a way of her arranging for one of them to be dead too.
Yeah, so that is definitely that.
Even if the bandit killed him, because it does seem very clear through the different stories too, the bandit wasn't particularly interested in killing anybody. They just, wanted to have his fun. But so yeah, it seems unlikely that he killed the guy as of his own volition. I mean, obviously you've also got the suicide possibility too, but I don't know.
Is the movie saying that that's also a version of her killing him? Like, who's really at fault? And there's some fault on everyone's side, really.
Yeah, definitely. If you get manipulated into a death fight, it's partly on you. I mean, it's
right. Maybe you should have married a better woman, you freak.
Nobody ends up looking good by the end of it.
No,
especially not the woodcutter. He looks so miserable and pitiful. I love
that's
him,
that's one of the reasons why I'm a little suspicious of him, is because he's so filled with like I don't know who I am kind of energy, well,
if you're a Kurosawa nerd, as I am, the other one to watch, and I'll make you watch this one at some point, is Seven Samurai. And in that about halfway through the film, the samurai have all gathered together. They're going to save these villagers in exchange for rice, because they're a poor farming village. And they find this huge cache, right, of samurai weapons that have been like hidden. And they realize it's because these villagers have been opportunistically killing any wounded samurai they find and dragging their stuff back to their village to hide. And they're all just like, we can't work for these people. These people are monsters. They've killed so many of our brothers. And then the one of them, who's dubiously a samurai, gives them this huge impassioned lecture about like, well, what do you expect him to do? Exactly. Have some wounded samurai bossing them around, having them kill themselves instead of just farming. Like, the samurai were going to kill them. Like, this is a kill or be killed situation, and whose fault is that? It's not the fault of the bloody rice farmers. It's the fault of these samurai who keep trying to use their village as a pawn in their wars, you know. So that, yeah, there's a lot of nuance to it. It's like, well, Kurosawa knows that like violence and treachery are in everybody's heart. That's what this movie's about. So
Yeah,
it's a good point. You could suspect the woodchopper. It's pretty suspicious.
Well, I just
he
like
was lying.
I just like the idea of it, that like he's just questioning everybody's account, and also he seems to be saying like that even the people that are lying, they don't even seem to know that they're lying. It's just like they, you know, like they can't even face that part of themselves, I don't think. Do you know what I mean?
I do feel to an extent that it wasn't him, partly for his reactions, that if he had done it and that was the resolution of the trial and he walked away, it'd be like, I got away. Whereas he's upset and he's like, these people are lying, and he's angry about the fact they're lying. And it's like, these lies are totally covering him. I mean, it's like, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like his whole emotion through the whole movie doesn't make any sense to me if he's lying. But
yeah, that's the other thing.
I mean, the movie kind of falls apart. Just the whole message of the movie. It's like, what's the movie even about now? I mean, it's just,
well, no,
I don't know. I feel like
because then it would be about you
too far.
No, because then if he's also potentially lying, then I mean that ties completely into the message.
He is potentially.
Yeah. So I mean that.
He is lying. We know he's lying, but if he's lying about the murder, I feel that's a step too far. It's
but
like,
why is that a step too far though? Why would that be a step too far?
Because his motivations in the movie don't make any sense. Nothing he says through the whole movie, you know, trying to get people to investigate this, trying to get people to look into it, trying to understand that these people are lying and there's another truth. It's like, that's not what you do when you're trying to cover up a crime that you murdered someone. You don't go, you guys got it wrong. You didn't find out it was me. I don't know. I just feel like nothing makes sense.
Well, I don't think
character.
I don't think that the woodcutter was involved enough in any of the stories to be a reasonable suspect for the murder. It's pretty clearly one of the three that were directly involved in it, right?
But he was watching, wasn't he? Watching from. I got the impression that he was watching from the trees. He watched a lot of it.
He was.
This is true. However, like, why would he then kill this guy with the knife instead of just taking it and leaving? Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't know the circumstances of
we don't know the circumstances.
So that's the part.
We do know he has the knife.
Yeah, we know he has the knife, but we don't know. Presumably, if he killed the guy, there would have been a reason. So I'm not, you know, but we don't know. Right. We don't know what the situation was that led to him even getting the knife. Really,
the thing is, one way or the next, he does make off with the knife, and he lies about it, and it's pretty clear that's what he's ashamed of. That's part of why he's so guilt-ridden and upset about human nature at the beginning of the film, right? Because he has done something wrong. He's robbed a dead man, right?
Yeah,
but that's he doesn't seem like as destroyed as a murderer would have been, right? So I don't know. You could, I mean, again,
well, can I make a case for that though? Because at the beginning of the movie, they are talking. Well, no, I'm not like a big argument, just a case for
such a Brendan thing.
No, it's
like
not
the wackiest idea, and you're like, but wait.
I don't think this is a wacky idea. I think I certainly get what you guys are saying, but I don't think it's that wacky. But at the beginning of the movie, they're talking about this age they live in is horrible, and people are like, bandits are always coming. It's a terrible, terrible age, and yet this guy is like so mentally shattered because he saw 3 people lie about a murder like that. I think that a lot of his mental anguish could conceivably come from the fact that he has more involved than he's letting on. You know what I mean?
He was. That was the dagger.
No, more than. But I'm saying more than that. I'm saying
I'm
saying if he were to have blood on his hands, I think that would explain his sort of sitting
the
there in the rain. You know.
No, he's also dealing with the fact that he knows that he lied too, because that's his other crime, is that he lied about the fact he witnessed the whole thing and could have testified, but he didn't want to get involved. I mean, that's the additional thing.
Yeah, I get that. But
the you know, basically he kind of kept his mouth shut, and then he's like, oh, and then he couldn't tell the truth because he'd already told the lie that he hadn't seen anything. So he's got the truth. He's got, you know, well, his version of the truth, at least in his head, and he can't tell anybody because he's already committed himself to a lie. I feel like that is really that's a much more compelling argument. Because I mean, the
is.
murderer isn't even interesting. I mean, it's like, oh, okay. But it's like the fact that he's torn apart because he can't reveal the truth he knows is interesting.
And the other thing, the story itself is developed such as that no matter whose version you believe or which elements of which version you believe, it reveals something hideous about human nature, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It does. Like any one of these people, even if they're telling the truth, is revealing themselves to be kind of monstrous, and not just themselves, but they're kind of our proxy for humankind. So that's why they're broken at the beginning of the movie. They're like, there's no version of these events that makes humanity look good, right? There's no hope for us as a result of that.
Well,
that's
and again,
got them shattered.
I don't want to beat it into the ground, but I'll just say the monk is the one who's lost faith in humanity, and the woodcutter's the one who's lost faith in himself. You know, like that sure. Seems to be the. I still just, I'm very suspicious of him still. I'll just, you know, you guys don't have to agree with me, but
we're just gonna leave it at that. I think.
I have nothing more to say on the topic.
The cases have been.
I don't think it's that crazy, guys. I mean, look, you guys don't have to agree with it, but I'm not saying like some insane thing.
You were going to talk about
no, but I thought your reaction was a little bit overblown. Like you're making me sound like I'm like nuts, and I'm just saying. You know, I think the woodcutter might have done it. I think that's a reasonable.
I don't like the movie if that's the case.
Yeah. We're recreating Rashomon right now, and it's kind of poetic.
It is, but
we're gonna all come out of this podcasting exactly as they went into the Rashomon, just like I have no faith in this movie anymore.
Yeah.
But if he did it, I feel like the writing and direction and acting in this movie were bad. That's my feeling.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say so, but you know, we can disagree. But
I know.
How dare we disagree on the absolute truth?
We've never disagreed on a movie before. We've got to come to a compromise position on this movie.
No, you guys believe what you want to believe. It's just that I'm not telling you guys your opinions are crazy. That's what bothered me about that.
So, to say your opinion was crazy, yeah. I just strongly disagree with it.
So.
I actually did say.
No. Joel said my opinion was crazy. Joel said my opinion was crazy.
I was saying he said you guys. I didn't. All right.
Yeah, you're aggregating us as though we both have the same complaint about your crazy opinion.
All right.
We have completely distinct complaints about.
But what about the performances in the movie? And Joel, you might be able to address this better than. I don't know. Adam might also, because I think Adam's more familiar with the work as well.
Adam's an actor. Adam's brilliant in this. Why are you?
But no, I'm talking about just familiar. But I think you're more familiar with these actors in general. So
sure, yeah. I've seen them in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the in terms
we'll
of
give it. I don't know. I'm interested in your perspective because you're kind of like the fan.
Oh gosh. Oh goodness. Okay. I really like the guy that plays the samurai. I've seen him in other stuff. I've seen him in other Kurosawa stuff, I believe. And I really like his performance here. I like everyone's performance, but I want to spotlight him because, like...
Are you talking about Toshiro Mifune? So who you're talking about?
Mifune. Okay. Mifune's in a lot of stuff. He's a
it was a Kurosawa
actor.
Film. It's a pretty good...
Didn't he almost play Mr. Miyagi at one point? Am I mistaken about that?
I believe he did. Yeah, he did. He was the original choice for that.
Ooh, they should have got him, man. He's good. Well, they got Mako, didn't they? Like, they did a pretty good job casting that. But
not Mako, they got Pat Morita.
Oh, really? What the hell am I thinking? Oh, no, I'm thinking of was it Conan? The hell was Mako in that?
Yeah, Conan's got Mako.
Okay. Yeah, that was Conan. That was Conan.
Yeah.
Completely just aired in my Mako casting. I got to commit seppuku now. But anyway, Mifune's fantastic in this. I mean, because he's really central to the film, right? And he's asked to play absolutely divergent roles, and he slaughters each one of them. Like he's
okay,
the first one, he's like this stoic, heroic samurai, and he's really like stern, but like disciplined. And in one of them, he's like grief-ridden and judgmental. And in his own, he's like this just broken, destroyed man who's seen everything in his life annihilated. And in the last one, he's a sniveling, pathetic coward. And in each one of them, he is 100% believable. Like he is that character, and it's the same guy in the same outfit with the same director. It's hard to find an actor with that kind of range. Holy smokes!
And he's the bandit, right? He plays the bandit, correct?
No, he plays the samurai.
I thought he played the bandit. Are you sure about that?
I mean, you could say
Mifune's the bandit. Mifune plays the bandit. Yeah.
Who's the samurai then? The samurai
is
Mori.
The samurai is Masayuki Mori.
Yeah, Morey. Well, Morey's the one I'm talking about then. Mifune also does a fantastic job, though. Because, again, you could say the same thing about the Bandit as well. He plays like this heroic, well, not heroic, but anti-heroic, like, outlaw. He plays a sort of miserable, conflicted madman. He plays, again, a sniveling, opportunistic coward. It's brilliant. It's brilliant stuff. Yeah. And really, like, oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy this movie, and I think that, like, it's so minimalist. It's almost like a play, right? Because we really don't have a huge cast. There's the three main characters, then there's the three framing characters, and then there's a baby and a spirit medium. And I want to say that's it. I don't think there's anyone else in this movie.
It'd be very easy to put on as a play, no question.
100%.
But
it's the same kind of it's structured the same kind of way a play is structured, where it just kind of immediately puts its characters in this boiling kettle and just makes them squirm the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a play way of doing things.
Yep. Exactly. It's all people bouncing off each other. It's the whole nature of this story.
Yeah, all the motives are all very human. Like, the characters' motives are everything that happens, And then, in addition to that brilliant piece of cinema, we have this outer layer of the question of what even did happen here, and that broader question of, can we trust our memories? Are we ever going to get the truth about things that we are hearing secondhand? Like, or are we even good judges of truth? Like, are individual human beings capable of knowing facts, or are we always going to taint them from our perspective? Like, what a fantastic puzzle box of a movie, right? And then in the middle of it, you just have this brilliantly acted masterpiece of a film. It's so good. Damn it. It's so damn good.
Yeah, I liked that it was very dialogue driven. I thought that made it a much more interesting movie than if it was like a movie, like, again, this is a good movie, but more a movie like Hero, which is kind of more what I was expecting.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch Hero.
Yeah, I mean, that uses a similar type of device. You know what I mean? It's where you have like different accounts of the same thing happening. But yeah, I don't know. I was very impressed with it. I think I definitely also was like, okay, I'm very eager to see other films by him as well. You know what I mean?
You're gonna have to watch Seven Samurai, dude, because it's the Magnificent Seven before the Magnificent Seven was the Magnificent Seven.
If we're gonna sell Brandon on Kurosawa films too, I should also mention that he's not just a samurai film director. He directed a lot of noir crime films too, which I think would be totally up your alley. Like the guy who played the samurai in this, he's like the Bad Sleep Well. That's a good one. I'll put that down as a recommendation.
I haven't seen Bad Sleep Well. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, you should.
Gonna.
Better.
What's the name of it?
I already said I was good.
The Bad Sleep Well.
The Bad Sleep Wall or Well?
Well.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The Bad Sleep Wall.
The Bad Sleep Wall. Don't sleep on that wall. It's a bad sleep wall.
That's a magic card, I believe, for Magic the Gathering.
Bad sleep wall. Interesting enough, it's a sliver. Who knew?
Oh yeah.
So
tap the creature to attack. It has to take a nap.
So I don't know, any additional thoughts on it?
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting way off topic here.
No, that's all right.
I mean, I could kind of talk about this movie forever. It depends on what level of detail you want to go into with it. Like, because you're right, it works on the level of being like a crime drama where you're kind of figuring out who really done it. It works as an examination of human nature. It works as a tightly acted and visually masterful, film that's just entertaining to watch and keeps your attention and gives you a reason to pay attention to it. It works as a character study of the incredibly rich and interesting, detailed characters. It works as a piece of cinematic history, like, it's so groundbreaking. God, I could. It's one of those movies like Citizen Kane where, like, no matter how much you praise it, you can always kind of find something new where you're like, oh yeah, that was brilliant, Well,
even some of like the shots, like what is it, where he's laying down under the tree, just like it's just like, this looks like a magical thing. Like, I don't even know why this is fascinating, but he looks like a giant under this tree. You know what I mean? It just looks like a painting. It's
I love I love
Yeah.
the fact they set up the thing about it being the breeze that wakes him up.
Mm.
It makes you feel the air. You're
Yeah.
like watching it. You can kind of when
Yeah.
that moment it's like you're watching a movie, but you're feeling the wind.
And he's
at the
literally
same
blaming
time.
the wind for his crime too.
Yes,
I
know. I know. It's but yeah, that's just wonderful. Yeah, there's so many little good touches about this movie.
That means it kind of works as a Camus tribute too, because you can think of what was it, Meursault, who shot the one guy because the sun was in his eyes. Was it The Stranger? I think that was. And
yeah,
same thing where you're kind of you're blaming human action on these eternal forces that like they certainly influence it, but they can't cause those things. But there you go.
And I think I think all that was in the first time he tells the account, right? But like, I can't. But I remember that he's also even saying like all these thoughts are entering my head that weren't there. It's like there's intruding things that he has no control over, and so.
You can't control your thoughts, man. That's
It's like nobody because
tell
you would never say that. You would never say like, oh, like the idea of making coffee just entered my mind against my will, and I made
Yeah, but you just made the idea of making coffee enter all of our minds against our will. I didn't sign on.
Yeah.
Now I got to go get coffee.
Sure.
Look at that. So.
But yeah, I don't know. Anything else to weigh in on with this one? I mean, I thought it was a great movie. I was as good as it gets.
Yeah.
I had no complaints.
And I'll say, just to address, like, you had the concern about, like, will this be, like, arty or slow? It's like, think about Kurosawa, is his movies are just so accessible. It's like they manage to be incredibly deep, but just good, solid, enjoyable movies at the same time. They're not one of those, like, there are a lot of great movies where it's a little bit of homework involved, but I've never found that with any of those
I would
movies
compare
that I've watched.
like a movie, and again, people might crucify me for this, but I didn't like the movie, I think it was the 2015 Assassin movie, the Taiwanese movie. And it was very artistic. If I remember, it was shot in black and white. It's got Shu-Chi in it.
Yeah.
She's a great actress. I like her in a lot of things, and I would have loved to see her in a movie like this. But I've never been able to finish the movie because I get so bored watching it. But it has gorgeous stuff, and it even has a scene where there's like a person near a river, and and again, I could compare it to the scene of the guy against the tree, but for whatever reason, I didn't want to watch the guy by the river, but I wanted to watch this guy. And so I just, there's just something about it where it just is very accessible.
No, it's just so good with characters.
Well, and like, just even if this was a completely silent film, I would still watch every frame. It's so beautiful the way he was able to compose shots, how long he chooses to linger on things, how he decides to move the camera, when he decides not to. Every single thing, like, you're right, it has this dreamlike quality to it, which is appropriate because it's a story of a story. Like, it is kind of a dream at this point. There's something just so mesmeric about this film visually. And I think that even if there were any fat on the movie, and there's not, this is a lean, mean.
Yeah, it was 128 minutes, something like that. Like, very short.
And every moment of it is delivering the maximum value to you. So, like, there's nothing extra in this movie. It's actually almost baffling. Because like you'd expect there'd be something that they would have messed up, and no, they didn't. Nope. They actually just cut everything that wasn't necessary, and they only left you with what you needed, and it was all brilliant. But even if there were fat on it, I don't think I would have noticed. It's just that mesmeric. And then you bring these brilliant actors in this incredible story, and you just, oh God. It's hard to overpraise this movie. I don't want to nerd out about it too much, but this really is one of those films that I feel like we're poorer if we don't see it. Like, especially if you're a film lover.
Yeah.
I really feel like you owe it to yourself to watch Kurosawa, and this is one of my all-time favorite Kurosawa films. Only modestly beaten out by Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai is my all-time favorite.
What's your list? Like, if you had a list of the top Kurosawa movies.
Oh my God. It's literally every Kurosawa I watch is my favorite for a little while.
They're all good. Yeah. I mean, to give Brendan some recommendations too. Like, I think you'd probably like his version of Macbeth, which is called Throne of Blood.
Yeah, I've
which
heard
has
good things about that one.
as a samurai version of Macbeth. That I think you'd really like that. Like I said, The Bad Sleep Well, I already threw out there.
Kagemusha is really good. Kagemusha is bigger. Like, it's much bigger than this.
That's later. That's late. Yeah, late.
That's
late
like Kurosawa,
a little
but
different.
it's incredible. Like, what an epic that is. The Hidden Fortress is a really fun one. I really enjoyed Hidden Fortress.
Yes,
that's the one that influenced Star Wars, right? Hidden Fortress.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. You're gonna see it right away.
Okay,
you're gonna start watching it. You're gonna be like, "Oh no, this is Star Wars."
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's not like you have to squint. You can see it immediately.
No, it's pretty on the nose.
Yeah, way back in the 90s when I first got it on VHS, I showed it to someone and I'm like, all right, this movie inspired another movie. I want to see how long it takes you to get it. And they were like, within 5 minutes. Star Wars.
That's a question I had, Adam.
You got it.
Since you saw Rashomon in the 90s, you said was the version we saw today the same, or were you operating off?
It was cleaned up.
Okay.
It's been I mean, it was not as pretty when I watched it back then. They had on the front of the version I watched the Criterion version. It was 2005. They did a restoration of it. So. I can't clearly remember. I mean, obviously it was on VHS anyway, so nothing looks that great on VHS. But
True. Well, it kind of like some things are really good on VHS. Like, you ever watch the original Alien on VHS? It's actually kind of great.
Okay. There are things. Yeah, I agree. Things that have that right kind of science fiction-y or something. Like watching like the Max Headroom TV series.
Watching Max Headroom on VHS
would be
another level.
Perfect.
Some things are great on VHS, but it has to be it's a real narrow band.
The other thing about VHS is sometimes you got the widescreen version, sometimes you got the adjusted for your TV version too, and so I would imagine
Kurosawa stuff in the 90s was all put out widescreen.
It was in
the 90s.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, by the 90s you kind of did have those widescreen VHS.
God, imagine this in a pan and scan. What an absolute butchery that would be. I'd have to hurt somebody. So if I ever die and go to hell, that's going to be my hell. It's going to be a giant stack of my favorite movies on VHS, and they're all going to pan and scan. I'm just going to be shrieking in horror.
That's what growing up in the 70s and 80s was like. Everything was pan and scan.
Yeah, everything was full.
I remember. I never really saw a Western until the 90s because every Western I saw was on TV. I saw Lawrence of Arabia pan and scan for the first time.
Oh, no, dude.
So, on TV.
That's awful.
I mean, but you got to understand, even at that time, like when we had the option of widescreen, we often considered that the inferior version because it was harder to see. Widely. On the TV because the widescreen would make it tiny, like
smaller.
Because we used to call it the Band-Aid version because it looked like a Band-Aid across the screen.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. There was no great option back then, so I don't blame you for doing pan and scan.
Yeah, because people, I think they imagine VHS being shown on a current day widescreen TV, but on those old TVs, it was
especially with subtitles too. You got that, and then you got the subtitles and.
Oh, another one you need to see, Brennan, and one that I only saw once was Yojimbo. That's a really good one.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it didn't even come to my mind. Yojimbo is, again, if you like spaghetti westerns, guess where they started? It was Yojimbo.
Yeah.
Another man with no name. I guess he does have a name, but anyway. But
not till the sequel, though. He doesn't have a sequel. He doesn't have a name during the first movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
There you go. See, there you go.
I don't think he does. The character in the novel, the Hammett novel too, he doesn't have a name either. He's just the Continental Op. So that's where that comes from.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. I've got to stop just praising this movie. Again, I passionately impassionedly, please, if you're listening to this podcast and you love films, go see Rashomon. Like, it's worth the $4.99.
It was a real easy watch too. I do have to say that, like, because sometimes we do these kind of things a lot. Where this was a movie that was an obligation. It was not like I said, "Hey, let's go watch Rashomon." You guys kind of had to bend me to watch it a little bit, and then and even then, it's still a movie where it's like we're watching it because I know it's on a list of movies that we're supposed to watch.
Yeah.
Like
I've done that too a lot.
Yeah.
And this movie was me trying to build up social credit so I can get some really boring movies into your life.
Well,
so
this one was really good because it was like I just sat down and I didn't want to stop watching it. And a lot of times you sit down to watch a movie like this and it's like, oh man, they got what, 45 more minutes? Okay. Like if, so this was one where there was none of that. And also I found it easy to watch in a distract. My wife was in like right behind me eating and conversing with me. Normally that would be a huge distraction, but for whatever reason, this was an easy movie to watch without, maybe because it's such a simple story in the end. Like, even though there's all these perspectives, everything that's happening is very kind of just apparent and clear. And so you don't have to, distraction isn't going to make you get get
you're not going to lose any vital details, really.
Except the one that I lost, the dowry at the end.
That's
kind of
that's fair.
Blink and you'll miss the dowry scene.
But anyways, we should end it here, and we'll be back on with another movie. I don't know what we're going to do next. I know we had a few things in the.
This was one of my movies, so now you guys have to figure one out. So
right, we'll work on it.
All right, we'll talk about it after the podcast. And all right, so I guess we'll end it here, and until next time, we will talk to you later.